evening. This is the Never Give Up variety show. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. This is the Never Give Up variety show that brings you news as well as other intriguing segments involving cooking, conversation, music, local businesses, senior issues, and light humor. Today, or tonight, is exclusively about updated, ongoing news directly from the March 18th Traffic Committee meeting on the Mickelson Drive problems with speeding out-of-control drivers on our neighborhood street. I have a unique perspective because I led the petition to get 3 crosswalks and stop signs put on Mickelson, and with my TV variety show, News is an Aspect. I'm a news reporter, and recently I've been invited to write for the Placer Sentinel. As a writer, a journalist, a columnist, whatever you want to call me. I spoke before the Traffic Committee. I was on the agenda for this date. As a senior citizen, I formally presented the problem and a possible solution. So I am a direct witness and the only reporter present at the same time. Anyone's name I mentioned can be contacted for further comment. So here's the map that I presented before the Traffic Committee. Now, the situation with Mickelson exists like this. This is Mickelson Drive, which is a hilly, curvaceous road coming down from the top of Auburn Ravine Road and Mickelson to the bottom of Mickelson and Auburn Ravine Road. The problems we have is the cars coming down from Ashford Park from the top. When they come to the stop sign here at Mickelson, instead of continuing down Auburn Ravine, which is cumbersome with 3 equidistant stoppings, they know that if they take a left onto Mickelson, it only has 2 stops, only in 10% of the street. For the rest, the 90% of the street, it is a freeway coming down the hill. The problems that exist is that these cars have no stop at all from Swenson all the way down. There is not a crosswalk either. One here at one end and one at the other one. There is no crosswalk at all. Not even where you think there would be a crosswalk with these stop signs at Carlin Swenson is there a crosswalk on Mickelson. So something has to be done to get control of the curve, which is the main contributor to the speeding car coming down through neighborhood that include mostly seniors on this part of the road. 230 seniors live right here that have signed on with their concerns. Now, my main concern was the speeding car coming down Mickelson, threatening us 250 seniors at the bottom going towards the 7-Eleven. The speeding car coming down Mickelson is catapulted by the top curve and steep dip right here. The top curve of the 3 blind curves is the most pivotal curve. That curve coming towards the car coming towards the curve from Swenson threatens exiting and entering driveway cars, parked cars, private property, and all along the people of all ages, pets, cross into this unguided street at their own risk. That speeding car is now swung through a dipping blind curve at a high rate of speed into a senior zone neighborhood, whipping down into senior zone neighborhood. I presented the problematic Speedway on a close to accurate color-coded 5 by 3 foot chart. 3 elements are the pivotal point to think about. Speeding cars, seniors, and 3 dangerous curves. We have to get a hold of the top curve by putting stop sign and crosswalk on both ends. That will stop the car prior to the curve and join neighbors safely with crosswalks for the first time. Prior to the curve, joining neighbors safely for the first time. Beautiful. The second crosswalk and stop sign is essential to stop the speeding car coming uphill into the curve and the speeding car going downhill into the population of senior district. Coming uphill into the curve, this stop sign, this crosswalk here will slow the car coming up into the curve that has crashed into this wall. This stop sign here will stop the car from burning into the curve this way. So these 2 are essential to grab hold of this major curve. After the second crosswalk stop sign, the speeding car comes into a more heavily senior population past a dentist office and into the third blind dipping curve that threatens incoming and outgoing 7-Eleven cars and seniors crossing at the bottom. A third crosswalk stop sign needs to go right here, so the traffic coming in and out of the dentist office will be addressed. The traffic coming in and out of the 7-Eleven will be addressed. This person crossing the street will be addressed, meaning that the car will slow down and won't threaten the person in the crossway. And all the driveways here at the Auburn Ravine Senior Apartments, cars can now go safely in and out without this threatening car coming down the street. After this, I asked for questions that led to a much broader conversation or debate. Committee member Mike Holmes said, "I've driven Mickelson 25 times and saw no speeding." So I asked Mike, and then he asked me, "What survey did you take, Jerry, to conclude cars went 40 or 50 miles an hour?" I said, "Mr. Holmes, I've presented 500 signatures before you, 230 of which are from seniors living at the bottom of Mickelson that signed on to say speeding is a concern and crosswalks and stop signs are needed. That is direct testimony from eyewitnesses, Mr. Holmes." Mr. Holmes further spoke of pedestrian delineators to be put on crosswalks, a good acknowledgement of crosswalks. Councilman Dr. Kirby availed himself to me days prior to the March 18th meeting and got a clearer picture. What would resonate from Dr. Kirby on this day was his main concern for seniors in this high senior area of Mickelson. Other people spoke. A long-time Mickelson Street resident engaged the committee in a well-thought-out observation and history of Mickelson Speedway. One of his many concerns was if safeguards or restrictions were put in place, is Frank Ford able to get them legally removed? The learned resident got assurance from Mr. Holmes, who said Frank Ford is in the past, and Chairman Ruffcorn confirmed with a nod. Now, another person that was there, Ken Anderson, transportation engineer who'd done a 3-year study 12 years ago to address this issue, spoke. He said he had many insightful things to say, one of which was that consecutive stop signs on Mickelson cars will disregard stopping at all. He said updated speed studies need to be enacted and a traffic count is needed. Bernie Schroeder, City Public Works Director, agreed. Bernie also said a study will bring a cost to the city. She agreed with Ken Anderson with his thoughts about stop sign violators. A Mickelson neighborhood citizen suggested putting a bike lane to address the all-too-wide street. Andrea Quinn, apartment manager at the Ridge apartment complex to the top of Mickelson, was concerned about the neighborhood school kids crossing into an unguarded street to go to school buses across the street, right up in here. Roger Luperman, a committee member, suggested splitting Mickelson and make it into two dead-end streets. That didn't go, nobody talked any further about that. Chief Roughcorn spoke of the data of incidences on Mickelson. I advanced his stats by saying many unfiled complaints exist from parked cars being hit on the upper part of Mickelson. We both agreed citizens need to cooperate by filing more complaints. Crosswalks, a need for crosswalks would resonate, but what to accompany them is the challenge. Where and how many as well. Raised crosswalks came from Mr. Holmes, and undulations as well. Both were somewhat disregarded. I recommended more definitive signage like blind curve, blind corner, or pedestrian crossing. I also revealed a new sign to consider. Being that this is a highly populated senior area, a senior zone sign was revealed to their welcome surprise. Seniors, if signs exist around school children, how about seniors who are just as vulnerable? A senior zone sign is needed. Ken Anderson said, afterwards when I interviewed him, we have sought the enemy and he is ourselves, alluding to the speeding driver. Ken Anderson also said of my talk, what stood out most about what Jerry said, he said, please help guide, as in crosswalks, and protect, as in stop signs, us seniors to cross the street safely. That is what I meant. If we put crosswalks and stop signs on Mickelson, cars will continue on down Auburn Ravine Road, and Mickelson will no longer be Mickelson Speedway. It'll be Mickelson Drive again, conjoining neighbors together with one another. I want to thank Mike Holmes. Mike Holmes. Mike was he was very articulate and quite helpful, and he added a little bit of a light humor to all the seriousness. I thought I would be the one to do it, and he probably thought I would be the one to do it, but no. Mike lightened up the mood with his needling me about my fishing pole pointer. Oh, that's funny, Mike. My confusing color coordinated chart. Oh, Mike thought that was funny, I believe. And interesting, he said, your top curve looks like the shape of a stomach. Sounds more like Dr. Kirby, doesn't it? That fishing pole was meant to be thrown out with this idea for the committee to buy into. Oh, Mike, you're getting too many laughs. I think you've spawned a career, Mike. I believe there's a comedy club down in Sacramento that's looking for you. Anyway, thanks. Crosswalks have been the crosswalks were bought into. I can feel that sentiment. For sure, we're going to have crosswalks. And signs, well, you need a sign to accompany them, don't you? Nothing speaks more with authority than a stop sign. So, I want to thank you folks. I've given you every bit of what I have experienced, and what I need is for you, if you wish to respond, to contact Bernie Schroeder, and keep in mind that in 30 to 60 days we're going to have some answers from Bernie Schroeder. So in the meantime, I'll keep you briefed on my show, Never Give Up variety show. Also, you can read my articles in the Placer segment. So in the meantime, I want to thank you. Thank you for listening to me. I hope I've given you some insight into the Mickelson Drive issue. So have them put that senior zone sign up there. It's time the seniors took hold of their neighborhood. It's time that they're respected and identified. This sign will let those speeding drivers know that this is not acceptable behavior in a senior district or any district. So in the meantime, thanks a lot. It's good to see you again. Good night, folks.